Hey there, Jared. Welcome to
Hi,
week 8.
Camille. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Here we are.
Here we are. Um, so yeah, we didn't debrief about last week. That was interesting especially for the Big 12.
Yeah.
Um, do we want to talk too much about any of those? Maybe just some highlights. Um,
Highlights. Indiana beat Oregon.
yeah,
That was big.
I kind of saw that coming though. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's
No
really
one.
because of what we don't know about Penn State. I mean, like it's just so bizarre. Like to be like, okay, Oregon's amazing, but then Penn State's bad all of a sudden. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, and I still don't know if that means Indiana's good. I'm still confused
Right.
with the big,
I.
big. I don't know.
There's some more parity. We've kind of talked about it. There's more parity here, and I think it's a
Yes.
good thing. Like, how good is Ohio State with Texas not looking so great?
And why is
Like
it such an undisputed fact that they're the best? Like undisputed,
they haven't done anything.
undisputed. Whereas like you
Yeah.
barely beat Texas, we'll go talk to Florida. Like, how are they
Yeah.
feeling about stuff? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. I think
yeah,
that's that historical bias where it's just like
yeah.
people need to learn like, wait, we need to question Penn State. We need to question Ohio State. Like, you haven't beat anyone. Like,
Hmm.
it's more important now that what is your
Hmm.
schedule? Oh, you
Hmm.
really haven't done anything, actually.
Right,
Um,
right.
so that was interesting. Texas did beat Oklahoma
Yes, they did.
again. Kind of, I did think Oklahoma's overrated,
Rated.
like big time.
Yeah.
Like, good team, maybe even top 25 team. Yeah, but number six, I don't know.
Yeah,
Um,
especially with their quarterback being a little iffy, but Texas exposed some real flaws.
yeah,
But,
yeah,
would they move down like 2 spots? Anyway, whatever.
probably. Yeah, it brought Texas up. It
Yeah, it
didn't
didn't
bring
bring
them down
Oklahoma
more. It's just
down.
like, oh, well, Texas is good again.
Yeah.
Any way we can get Texas back in there.
Yeah.
Colorado beat Iowa State, knocked them
Which
Iowa State out of the whatever. Which
top 25? Yeah.
we've kind of talked about. Like Colorado, they're going to put it
Colorado.
together. If they do, they're dangerous.
Hmm.
It's just they're not consistent through a game. So
Well,
that,
they're consistent now, at least.
yeah,
Consistent enough to put that win together. Yeah.
yeah. USC beat Michigan. I feel like that's kind of like not a
Yeah.
shock because who was
Yeah.
Michigan, who they played, and USC is kind of like, all right, they're good. They're a good team.
Hmm. Yeah, I think they want to get USC into to the top 25 for the Notre Dame game. I really think that's what
Yeah.
all of this controversy is about.
The fact that Notre Dame's even as high as they are is still ridiculous to me.
It's so
Did you see that thing
frustrating.
I sent you? I deleted it, but it's like, how is Notre Dame like there was a team that had two losses and better losses than Notre Dame, and they're not ranked.
Yeah,
And Notre Dame has two losses and is like in top 15 or something like that. They're
yeah,
way up there. And it's like it's
yeah.
just the bias they get is
Well,
insane.
and the media pressure from whatever source they're actually sponsoring is coming into play here too. Whether if it's at ESPN, like they're sponsored by the SEC or whatever else,
Hmm.
like you see a lot of that bias coming in. But one of the things I will say though is most of these games were tight, which
Yeah,
goes back to ESPN picking the right tight games because
yeah.
yikes, man, most of them came down to the wire. Um, except for, some of the ones like,
Utah,
okay,
Utah
Utah,
over Arizona.
but that one, they were without their quarterback. So
Yeah,
a couple of those last minute choices where it's like, well, that might be why.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, most of these I'm like, okay, that was a bummer. But and then TCU was another interesting one where I was like, they were kind of in the conversation for a minute, and then Kansas State, like,
yeah.
okay, I don't think they got better, like,
Right.
but
Yeah,
did TCU just decide to like, I don't know, it was just so bizarre on that one.
yeah. Then
BYU, that
BYU over
one,
Arizona,
that was a
and
heart attack.
that was a
Yeah.
weird game too because before the weather delay, like
Hmm.
BYU was rolling, and then
Hmm.
after the weather delay, it's like, oh, we're playing football, and like they had to like warm back up to get good. And Arizona came out firing like after the weather delay. So I
Yeah,
I wonder without the weather delay, is the game that
it might have
close?
been a different, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and if BYU is a good team, they should be able to. They did. They figured it out.
yeah.
But anyway, all right. Well, I
All
guess
right.
on to this week. Let me pull up my little thing. Um, let's see. There we go. So can you see that? All right, we've got a couple fun games this week. Um, I don't even know if I spelled Ole Miss right. But anyway, Ole Miss and Georgia. Well, and, okay, sorry. I just want to start by the fact that like look at how many differences there are from the two sides.
Yeah,
This is the first time we've seen this since like week two or maybe
yeah,
three, but it's been a minute, and I think it's going to be an interesting battle here
yeah,
this week,
agreed.
especially with a rivalry game. That one makes sense to me, but the Arizona Houston game, that's interesting too. We'll have to talk more about that. But
Oh yeah,
all
same
right, should we
level,
jump in?
just different one. Sure.
Georgia, Old Miss.
I mean, I don't know what to do with this one. Like, I don't
Well,
think Ole Miss is as good as
no, I think
people
they're
think,
overrated. I
and
do.
I
Yeah.
also like I know they're good. I know
Hmm.
Georgia's good, but
Hmm.
I don't know. This is
They're
a
like a
tough one.
version of Oklahoma. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I as a 10, Georgia, I wouldn't put either of these teams as a
No.
10.
This is what makes this so hard. Can you just give us a bunch of one through fives? Like I
Right.
probably could deal a lot better
Yeah.
with that.
Right.
Um, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
to be honest, it's because I'm fairly confident that Oklahoma is a bit of a bust, or not Oklahoma, Ole Miss. I think I'm okay with Georgia being on the higher side of the five, but still, I mean, it goes back to like that doesn't show respect to Ole Miss um, because they actually are, I think, a competitive team. I think there's a lot of competitive teams in the SEC. I think we just haven't really, and is Georgia
Oh
the
man.
standard we keep measuring everybody by? It
Sh-
seems to be,
Right.
but
Should they be measured by it? Like,
should they? Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at Ole Miss's schedule and Cupcake. Like LSU, I guess they beat, but
Yeah, yeah,
that's the toughest game on there.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Georgia's schedule, Tennessee, Alabama. Georgia's got a little bit more to stand on, but they lost to Alabama, sorry. Um, so yeah, it's still kind of
Well, and with this one too, I mean, it's at 10 on both sides, but also take a look at the fact that 69.7 is the highest of
yeah,
all these different ones. Like most of them are in the 50s, which
yeah.
means that's not much of a real one way or the other kind of situation.
Hmm.
So I think that has an indication of more of the fact that there's just so much parity on this list of
Yeah,
like, okay, who what we could do. But there you
agreed.
now let's talk about Oklahoma, your favorite team. Well, no, we know
Well,
Ohio State's your favorite team.
yeah, that's
Anyway,
right.
but Oklahoma. So
I
you think they're
mean,
going to be a bust here?
I don't know that they'll be about. I'm giving them the benefit of a doubt for winning this game. I think,
Okay.
um, and I'm looking pulling up their schedule right now. Like, actually, now that I look at their schedule, I don't know. I almost think, well, South Carolina's lost to anyone difficult,
Yeah.
basically. So I think it really comes back to the quarterback. I read that like he couldn't really even squeeze the ball well, where it's like, well, why
Hmm.
are you in there? That just shows how much you don't trust your second string, I guess, if you'll
Right.
trot that guy out. So I think it depends on his health. If their quarterback's healthy,
Then
while
they
I
can pull
still
it
don't
off.
think Oklahoma's like this amazing team, I think they win this game if their quarterback's healthy.
Yeah, I had a lot of like hope for South Carolina earlier in the season, and I think you're like you said, they're a good, solid mid-range team in the SEC. But I mean, what are they, 3-3? So I mean, that kind of tells
Yeah.
the right story, probably. But I do think, again, they're always a wrecking ball team, in my opinion. Like Oklahoma's on a down week. Could they take a two-hit loss? Um, I don't know. I will have to
Yeah.
see. It's at South Carolina, which I've heard is hard to play at. Well, all the SEC probably is hard to play at.
Yeah.
So I think I this one I'm watching closely. I don't know. I have this. I don't know. We're gonna pick upsets later, but this is on my radar.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And by the way, Oklahoma dropped from 6 to 14, and it was a
and Texas
blowout
is below
loss
them.
too.
Yeah,
It wasn't
yeah.
even like a one
It
point.
wasn't
It
a
was a
quality.
it was a
Yeah,
blowout loss.
yeah.
So I think they should have dropped more. I think Texas when they lost their second, they dropped like
Hmm.
completely out, and
Completely off. Hmm.
so you lost anyway. But I think this is where that buys. Well, it was a rivalry. Well, it was Texas. It was an unranked Texas. It wasn't.
Well, we'll see how much that holds true if there's a blowout between Utah and BYU and one of them gets kicked out. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like, and they will.
they'll
I mean, because
they
yeah,
will.
they will. Yeah.
Remember
And so,
Arizona State lost to Mississippi State? They were up. They were top 12 almost, and they
yeah,
dropped all the way
off.
out. They didn't hang in there.
Yeah.
And I think you could go, oh well, Mississippi State, blah 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 blah, and they were bad. They were the worst in the league last year. It's like, yeah, but still, like
Yeah.
Notre Dame had two losses and they hung on.
Yeah. Yeah. The rationale is pretty rough.
Yeah.
Speaking of rationale, I'm probably going to have a hard time talking about Utah and BYU without being biased.
Oh,
Um,
totally
but
biased.
yeah,
I
I'm not a big fan of that being Utah at 8. Just,
I
I mean,
mean,
yeah.
Utah, I will give them. You hear about their well, this is the funny thing. You read,
Mhm.
listen to everything. It's like Utah's line, Utah's this, and it's just like you got to remember. Okay, Texas Tech's really good. They got obliterated by Texas, especially in that fourth quarter with a backup quarterback.
Mhm.
They struggle against Wyoming to begin. They
Mhm.
struggle like they beat UCLA, which now it's like, all right, like how good are they? Like UCLA's had two wins, but completely different team than what they
Mhm.
were. So I'm like, is this people riding high and liking Kyle Whittingham and oh, see the NFL prospects on Utah's team and how good they are? Like, it's a rivalry game. Anything can happen. BYU could very well lose this. I would not be
Mhm.
shocked if they did lose this. So I'm not
Mhm.
saying like BYU is going to kill them, but it's just crazy to me how quickly it went from like Utah dropped out. We're back, baby. Like, and Arizona State, I think they got too much credit for the win against Arizona State without
I
their quarterback.
agree. I agree. Well, and I think I don't know. I think what I'm struggling with a little bit is what seems to be grace for some teams and not for others.
Hmm.
And it must be frustrating even for Utah fans to be like, all right, so now we're not like after the Texas Tech, which they were always saying too that Texas Tech was amazing. So to go from like on in the conversation to off the top 25, and then their wins over the last ones. I mean, they haven't been narrow wins, but it's not like they're playing these super quality teams. And then all of a sudden, all this grace comes back in. Now, to be totally fair, BYU's wins are pretty narrow all the time. So
Yep.
I understand why the media would be like, okay, well, they can't secure any big wins. But I have a hard time giving Arizona State that or Utah the Arizona State like big narrow win because I was like, well, hold on, like we didn't play Arizona State with a damaged quarterback. So I think we were getting everybody's top game for the most part, and when BYU was playing them, and so
Yeah.
Utah's looking to actually most of the time we're highly ranked, and so people are really bringing it so that they can beat us. So I don't know.
It's funny because I think there's two different historical biases here.
Yes.
Utah's, where, okay, they won the Pac-12 twice. Of course,
Hmm.
Pac-12 was down and whatever when they won. Um, then
Yeah.
they came in and got obliterated. People just forget last year,
Yeah.
completely.
Hmm.
But like they've been steady Eddie, in the Pac-12. Like, yeah, the first few years Pac-12 were rough, but they were kind of like in the
Yeah, at
middle of
least
the
in the
pack.
mid
Then they
pack,
were good.
middle
Then they
pack.
were in the
Yeah.
mix. Then they
Hmm.
won it twice. And then they lost two Rose Bowls. Um, and then you have BYU, who's been battling historical bias forever,
Forever.
like
Forever.
forever, for whatever the perception is, because it's a religious school or what. Like they just can't get it. And then you look at some of these stats. It's like, oh, this is the back-to-back seasons, 6-0. No other team's done that. BYU's got like
Hmm.
they have these. They have some history.
Stats on
Granted,
their
I
side.
think
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
think independence was rough, and so
Yeah,
I
that
think
that put us out of the conversation.
they're still
Hmm.
overcoming that.
Yeah.
So I think if BYU wins a couple or one or two Big 12 championships in 3 years, like
Hmm.
that's gonna finally, flip the
Solidify.
switch in people's heads.
Hmm.
Kind of like with Utah, where it's like, oh, you won the Pac-12 twice. We're still remembering that. But
Yeah.
again, all this historical bias is crazy because it doesn't mean anything for the current year. One of
Never.
the
Yeah.
the best stories on historical bias for me when I was missionary in Mexico during the World Cup, someone was just like, "Well, the U.S. won't win. They've never won." And I'm just like, "What does that have to do with anything? Mexico's never won. Like,
Yeah.
so it doesn't matter. Like, it
It
doesn't
doesn't.
matter now. You know, now
Yeah.
you could talk about funding and all that stuff, and
Hmm.
then we're into a real conversation. But
Yeah. Yeah.
anyway, okay,
Well, and even funding between these two teams, that's a whole different conversation too.
right.
And
Well,
so, yeah.
and just looking at the history of these or the future, like Kyle Whittingham's obviously kind of
nearing
he's
the end.
suggested he's
Hmm.
leaving at some
Yeah.
point. BYU's
Hmm.
starting to beat them with recruits because remember that 9 year win streak was when Utah was in the Pac-12 getting the recruits.
Yes.
Utah was in BYU was independent. And now it's like BYU's getting some of these recruits also,
Hmm.
like in
Yeah.
state or whatever.
Yeah.
So, and Utah's like, oh, wait, we're not just going to dominate because
Yeah.
we now are splitting recruits,
Yeah.
basically.
Well, it's the same thing that a lot of these top schools are facing, which is like, wait, we're not dominant all the time. It's a massive
Right.
identity crisis that they all have to go through. And the ones of us, all of us that have been like really down on the identity, like we had no identity forever. We're like, woohoo! And
Yeah.
we love the
This is
disruption. It's
great.
like, yeah,
We're
finally
getting
we have a place here. Like,
we're
look at
getting a
Vandy, you know?
right. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're just like,
Totally.
we have a seat at the table for the first time ever. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Anyway, so like I think it's really disruptive to their psyches and that there's fan bases in general. I haven't even jumped online because I was like, rivalry week between Utah and BYU is very
Oh,
destructive and
I
it
don't
brings
even
out
look.
the worst of both sides. Most people, I feel like, even the fans I know that are on the Utah side, we're somewhat relatively decent to each other. My boss is a Utah
Uh-huh.
fan. He's going to be at the game and I'm going to be at the game as a BYU fan. It's like, let's just not see each other. Like,
Let's just not talk. Yeah.
let's not ruin that professional, relationship. Anyway, but I think for the most part, it's like we can all agree. Like most of the time, I can be like, yeah, BYU beat us. I mean, at least, yeah, or like
Or
Utah,
Utah beat. Yeah, we
you did a
lost.
good job. Like all those years, I was like, I can't contest the fact that you won and you played a better
Yeah.
game. So, do I like admitting
Yeah.
it? No, but you did. You know.
Or you or you send your AD out there and and cry like a baby for losing and stuff. But
Yeah. Anyway.
I gotta say, remember we went to the Utah game and sat in the Utah BYU game in at
Yes.
Utah, sat in the student section, and we were cheering, and that was an
It was
experience.
not
But
allowed. Well, and to give my quick anecdote of going to the Texas A&M Florida game last week, what was interesting about being there, I found it so fascinating, especially having gone to the Holy War at Utah. The Florida fans, I had Florida fans sitting right next to us and they were on the bus. Nobody gave them any nonsense. Now, I know that they're not a rival specifically, but they were allowed to cheer, stand up and cheer, like yell on the third down, just as obnoxiously as all the other fans were for us. And nobody contested that. It was just like, no, they're doing that because and I was like, I remember being okay, and this is us being silly. My friend was going to the U at the time, and I didn't realize we were going to be in the student section. So here
right,
we are, like two blue people or three of us in the
right,
that was just the wrong place to be. So I think I just hopped up, oh my gosh, yeah, just to cheer because we made a good play and people are throwing
instinct.
things at us. And I was like,
Yeah,
oh gosh, okay, no cheering whatsoever in my head only,
yeah,
so but yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think I hope that this doesn't bring out the worst in all humanity this weekend because most
yeah,
people that I've talked to is like me having going. I'm like, I'm struggling to even go because I'm like, I can't turn the TV off when it starts to go south. Or, I guess I can get
yeah.
up and walk out. A friend told me, like, look for Cosmo or go get something to eat. Or like, and I was like, I'll probably have to deploy some of those tactics at some point. So
Yeah. I've even thought, I mean, I'm watching from home of just like, I almost have to have the
like a
game has to
delay.
be secondary. Like, I
Yeah.
almost need to be like, I'm working on this other thing, and that's in the background to like
Because it's
just,
painful.
it's painful. Like, and
Yeah.
until if they're winning by a bunch of points, cool, I'll be fully invested. But if it's close or
Yeah.
they're losing, it's like, what else can I do while this is on?
Yeah. Normally I have to be like a 5 minute YouTube delay where I'm just like, then I can, and I have the score on my phone. And then I can see what's happening to be like, okay, I can either be sad or happy about how this third and 15 is going to go.
Yeah. Usually your TV is ahead of mine, so you'll post something or
Oh
text
no.
something, and I'm like, is it good or bad? If it's good, I'm like, oh, I can't wait. Let's watch. If it's bad, it's like, oh no.
Well, it's never
Let's
good if I have to talk about training anyway, but that's a whole different story for the Dodgers. So yeah, it'll be interesting. I think what's hard about this is I would say any rivalry game, any time of the season, I would never put them above a five. Like even if it was like Ohio State versus like I don't know,
Oh
whatever.
yeah. Hmm.
Like because you just really can never tell. Like even Michigan, like I remember, yeah, there's what didn't Michigan win last year? They
Yeah.
won. And like
Yeah.
still Ohio State won the national
Won the chip. Yeah.
championship. So
Texas beat Oklahoma last
Texas
week,
beat
right?
Oklahoma. And that might mean nothing for both teams, but I think rivalry games for me, because of the unpredictability, I would always keep it probably at a one. Like I think the matchup predictor
Yeah,
strategy has it correct and the
has
correct
it
choice,
right.
but that's just me.
Yeah, correct
Yeah,
choice,
correct
but
choice,
and
correct
correct
placement.
location for sure. Like
Yeah,
either way, you just
yeah,
never know. And you
yeah.
look at the history of these, I saw something where it's just
Mhm.
like the BYU Utah game had the closest or the most games within a touchdown score than any rivalry in the last, it was like 20 or 30 years or
Yeah,
something. Like
yeah.
all these other ones end up kind of being blowouts. Yeah, they're close sometimes. BYU Utah, the most games
Yeah.
within a touchdown. And that includes that 9 year stretch. Like there were years
Yeah.
in that 9 year stretch, multiple years. BYU went for two when they
Hmm.
could have tied and they didn't get it. Then the field
Yeah.
goals missed. Like everything's so
A
close.
lot of those games were field goal wins or like,
Yeah,
like
misses, field goal
or
misses, field goal
misses.
in.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember those too. That was super fun. Well, it'll
anyway,
be a fun, very stressful, very, very
it'll
stressful
be very
weekend.
good luck.
And yeah, good luck. Good luck on your emotions on that.
Yeah.
All right. Penn State and Iowa.
What do you make of Penn State? They fired the
Yeah.
coach.
Yeah.
Iowa's fine, I guess. I don't know.
I
Like,
feel like they're mid-table. Well, and here's the question. Was that the right decision for Penn State to do? I mean, that was a pretty drastic reaction.
so
Um,
this conference I just went to, the guy, the VP there, he went to Penn State. He's a season ticket holder, goes to the
mhm.
games. And I asked him that. I was like, should you have done it mid-season or waited
Yeah.
till the end of the year so you keep recruits? And he's like, no, get it. We've been wanting to get rid of him for
Really?
years. He's like, he just never can win, even after last year, which is crazy because
Oh,
they made the
interesting.
playoff. But
Yeah.
it's just
It's not enough.
it's been mediocre,
Hmm.
at best. Like any tough game, they don't
Mom,
show up for. And
mom.
I think you can kind of blame that on the team, but when it's a body of 12 years, it's
Yeah.
kind of like
Yeah. It's true.
maybe it's the coach. So I did
Okay.
mention, I was like, well, what about recruiting? And he's
Hmm.
like, yeah, he's like, I think we're willing to take the hit to
The
get
risk.
someone
Well,
better.
and maybe they
And
might be able to recruit knowing there's going to be a better coach coming,
maybe,
Who knows? Maybe that'll actually play into it.
I don't know. So
Um,
yeah, Iowa, I'm looking at their schedule.
I do think I'd probably rank this one either right where it is or maybe a little higher because some of these other ones are high.
Yeah,
Um,
Iowa only lost to Indiana by 5 points. I did not know that.
yeah, I
But
think Iowa's good. And I feel like they're our version of Arizona and Colorado and Houston and Cincinnati. Like I actually think Cincinnati's better. But anyway, like in the Big 12, I'm like there's some schools that are at the top that are the sleeper schools. And I think Iowa's that for the Big 10.
yeah,
So at least that's what I've been able to perceive. I feel like did they play Ohio State yet? I feel like they kept it
I
close.
don't
No,
think
they
so.
haven't yet. Okay.
No, they kept it close to Indiana.
Okay,
Um,
Indiana, that's right.
but
So
Iowa, I feel
it's
like is
respectable.
steady Eddie.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
they
At least
should
they
win
can
the
be counted on to be.
now. Be wary of the UCLA effect, where you fire your coach and then you beat Penn
Oh,
State.
that's true.
So
That's a new thing now, the UCLA effect, where it's like, wow, they're showing up all of a sudden. What? I'm so confused.
yeah, so I think it
Yeah.
could go one way or another, where you're either Penn State, where it's like, oh, we fired a coach, what are we doing? Or is it
Hmm.
here we go?
Hmm.
But I do think
Yeah,
I would err on the side of Iowa
I
in
agree.
this.
I think Iowa's the better choice right now, just because you don't know enough about Penn State's new.
Yeah,
This will be the first time they're playing with their brand new interim coach.
right.
So yeah, Baylor and TCU.
I think this is a tough one too, because
Hmm.
they're both kind of like, oh, you were kind of overachieving for a little bit, and then you're not.
Hmm.
And so it's at T. I'll give the home team on this. I think, yeah, I'd go with TCU just because they're at home. But
Yeah, I
would
don't know. I feel like Baylor brings the fight, though. I mean, I feel like they might have lost it in the last moments, but they've normally fought the good fight. I just don't. I didn't watch the TCU Colorado. Was it Colorado? No,
uh
TCU.
TCU did
No,
play Colorado, but they played Kansas State.
can't. Oh, that's right. I didn't watch
Ooh,
that game enough to know what happened there.
Baylor's coming off a bye week. The
Huh?
last game they played was Kansas State. They won, and TCU's last opponent was Kansas State. They lost. Um,
Yeah.
they also both played ASU a few weeks back, and they both lost by the exact same score, 27-24.
Yeah, so this
So
is going to be a tough one. The home field advantage probably will play into it a little bit, but Baylor, I think this is one of those they could climb a little bit
yeah.
in like status if they won this.
And where's
Both could,
I would
both could.
I would bump this one down just because
Yeah, I
I
agree.
think it could go either way.
Well, yeah. And look, it's 9 on the other side. Yikes, that's too high. Nine's too high.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, okay, your favorite, Missouri and Auburn.
Missouri Auburn. I think Missouri bounces back. They did put up a good fight against Alabama. Um, didn't get blown out 27-24,
Hmm.
So and
Hmm.
Alabama looks to be good. So I'm
Hmm.
thinking and Auburn's got three straight
Auburn played
losses.
well, but they played Alabama and they almost beat, well, they kept it
No,
close, I think, for a
oh,
while.
Alabama and Auburn haven't played.
I thought they have. Who did they play
No,
last week? Who did
they're the
Auburn play?
Iron Bowl. They always play that last.
Oh, okay. Then who
Yeah.
did Auburn
They
play?
played Auburn has played Oklahoma, A&M, and Georgia all three
Oh,
straight. So
Georgia. That's who they played. Okay.
that's a
Yeah.
tough stretch for
Gauntlet.
them.
Yeah. It's going to
And
be
they kept
at
it
Auburn, but yeah.
at Auburn. They kept it fairly close, 20-10 against Georgia,
Yeah,
16
that's
to 10
decent.
against A&M,
I think,
24-17 against Oklahoma. So not far off
well, that's where
scores.
I'm like, this will be an arm wrestle. I actually think
Yeah.
that will kind of be a standstill for a while. It could be just like, I do think that the spread is correct. Like 1 point, like keep it
Yeah,
close.
I agree. Are
Hmm.
Auburn's spirits broken by three straight losses, or are they still in fight mode?
Missouri still has something to fight for. I think they're within
Missouri
contention,
does.
right? Auburn, so I want to make sure I'm remembering this right because I normally don't, but I feel like I heard that there was talks about getting rid of their coach. And if that's actually on the
Wouldn't be
table, then
shocked.
I would say spirits are broken.
I
You know what
would
I mean?
not be
So
shocked. Yeah.
yeah,
I I feel like I heard that too, but I
yeah.
don't know for sure. But three straight
So
losses, yeah.
I give this to Missouri. They're pretty strong. I think Auburn's broken. They could be. I think they'll keep it close, but
I
yeah, they're just not.
also just looking at the scores to the last three games,
Mhm.
if they do bring it, I wouldn't be shocked if they
Yeah,
if they win, if they
especially if
at
Missouri
home.
underestimates them.
Yeah.
So,
And if Missouri's coming off a heartbreaking loss, like, oh, our Magic season, we almost had it. Like, how do they rebound?
how do they rebound?
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
we'll
So the
see.
next one is kind of shocking to me. Just, I'm going to throw this
Yeah.
one out. Like, what? I'm sorry. Duke? Why are they getting the favor here? Georgia Tech is ranked. And actually, I've seen Georgia Tech play, and I like, what's his name last name? Hayes. Uh, the quarterback's name?
King. King.
Hayes King. Yeah. Like, he's pretty, I think he's pretty scrappy and actually pretty talented. Isn't he in the like conversation for Heisman right now? And I don't know if
Oh,
that's
I
all
don't know.
overrated,
Yeah.
but I do think Georgia Tech is pretty strong. What has Duke done? I'm sorry.
Nothing. They lost to Tulane in
Why?
Illinois
Like, oh,
and beaten
yeah.
some
And
teams.
Georgia Tech is undefeated. I feel like this is pretty big of like it's a huge slight to Georgia Tech.
I
So I
agree.
actually disagree with this one.
I
Hmm.
agree with you. I was surprised to see this as well.
Especially
And
8 on the other side. What?
I mean, and it's at Duke. Okay, like I feel like
But
I've
home field,
heard the
no. Hmm.
1.5 spread is like, okay, that means it's even. You're just giving the edge to the home team. But
Hmm.
same, it's like, I mean, Georgia Tech went in. No, they were at home against Clemson,
Hmm.
and won. But still, like they have the best win
Hmm.
of even though Clemson's down, they still have the best win between the two. Unless there's some injury or something, I don't know
Hmm.
about. And this could be one where it's just Vegas trying to get people to put money down.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, but the matchup predictor on the other side too. Like I almost think this has more to do with the fact that they are playing like easier teams in general. And Georgia Tech, I think, has been, I don't know if it's easier teams, but I was like, they've showed up to all those games and won. So what stats are this skewed where it would be this dramatic?
Yeah.
So I mean,
You know, you
I
know,
don't even think I'm going to call this an upset. I'm just going to think this is a misplacement. Like, I think it
yeah.
should be Georgia Tech, period. Yeah.
You know what I feel like Georgia Tech is? Georgia Tech's the BYU this year, the ACC.
Yes. Oh, that's a good comparison.
Yeah.
They
It's
get
like,
no
well,
respect.
what else do you want us to do? We've just
Yeah.
won,
Sorry.
you
Yeah.
know?
we're 6 and
Like,
0. So what else can we do? I mean, you had Clemson at number 2. So what?
yeah. The only
Yeah.
difference is Georgia's 6-0 and ranked 12th. I guess BYU's up there, decent. So
Yeah, we're
anyway,
6 and 0. So
but
yeah.
I would be
Yeah,
shutting
that's
down
very yeah.
anyway. LSU Vanderbilt.
Mhm.
I never know what to make of Vanderbilt anymore.
Yeah. A lot of
Like,
people think they're overrated, which
got
fine. There's some understanding with that. But
gone are the days of Vanderbilt being the doormat. You know, they might come beat you.
they
Um,
might. I just don't know
LSU
what kind of
though,
version. Yeah, what version of LSU are we going to get? I mean, that's the hard thing. I feel like they're LSU is a version of Florida where it's like they could show up and beat Texas all of a sudden randomly, but then lose
yeah.
to everybody else. But LSU, I feel like keeps it just kind of like Florida does. Even if they lose, they keep it respectable. So, and they've been playing some hard teams,
And
so it's really
LSU
hard. Yeah.
LSU's schedule isn't all that. They played Old Miss. They lost Old Miss close.
Hmm.
They beat Clemson, which that win doesn't look as
Yeah, it
good
doesn't count
anymore.
anymore. Yeah.
Um, so it's like, are you that good? But then also Vandy, they beat
Yeah.
South Carolina
Same.
when South
Hmm.
Carolina was 11. They lost to
Hmm.
Alabama, but so they don't really have a schedule either. That's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I honestly probably both of these teams are overrated a little bit.
I think so. I do agree with that. I think they're probably mid-table SEC and
Yeah,
don't belong in the top 25, but are worthy of concern whenever a top 25 team plays them because they can win on any given Saturday.
yeah.
So
I'd like
yeah,
to see Vandy win.
I'd
Let's
like
do
yeah,
it.
that's my yeah, let's do it, Mandy. Come on, come on. Come on, Diego. Um so yeah, I favor Vanderbilt, but I actually yeah, this is one that kind of a lot of these. It's really hard to just say outright who you think is going to win
Yeah,
because it could go either way. But I think because it's at home, I'm going to give them the Vanderbilt edge. So,
yep, I'm with you.
um, okay, Arizona, Houston.
This is actually a tougher game. Like seeing
Yeah,
Arizona's fight
yeah,
last week against BYU, watching the whole game, they gave up. BYU got the first passing touchdown on Arizona of the year on Arizona.
wow,
There were many, at least a handful of like good passes, and their safety or quarterback like dove in and knocked it away. Like
mm,
I don't have stats for you, but I saw like they got a pretty good secondary, and their defense was pretty stout. Um, and then Houston's not bad. Like
Houston's not bad either. Yeah,
they lost to Texas Tech. And everyone's losing to Texas Tech right now.
yeah. So that's not even a thing. So
Yeah, but
yeah,
they beat Colorado. That was early in the year when Colorado didn't have it together. So I think this is an underrated game. Like I think this is going to be a good match because
yeah,
well, like Arizona is better than they were last year. Houston is kind of this up and coming, like, oh, you were really bad last year. Like, oh,
yeah,
you're doing pretty good. Like, this will be a good test for them, another stepping stone. It's not against a great team, but it's against a good team.
yeah,
Um, so I
yeah.
would probably go Arizona, but you have it highlighted. Yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah, so like if you look at both of them, they're both at a 2. Um, and they're both flipped. So it really, I mean, that's a perfect example of how it really could go either way. I do think based on what I saw from Arizona, at least second half Arizona,
Yeah,
I think they could do it. But Houston, I think playing at Houston, there is a like quite a bit of an advantage there.
yeah.
So
And
I don't
and
know.
I'd say second and third quarter Arizona, middle
Hmm.
middle game Arizona. If that team shows up, I think they'll win. The first and fourth quarter Arizona, not so
Hmm.
much.
I agree.
Um, but yeah, I don't know enough about Houston to be like other
Yeah,
than seeing kind of their record and who they played.
I agree. And let's end on a completely random one that I'm not sure either of us have
Random
information
for
about.
us. Yeah.
Old Dominion James Madison. I feel like 2 seasons ago we would have had a lot more to say about both of these colleges because they were showing up a lot more.
Yeah.
I remember James Madison winning quite a bit a couple seasons ago, but I really haven't paid. Like, here's the thing: I don't pay attention to these colleges unless they're on ESPN Pick'em,
Yeah.
and then I actually start to realize it. But it this is one that goes it's an either way battle, and Old Dominion on is ranked number 4 on matchup predictor strategy. So again, it goes back to the same theory I think we've been talking about all season long, which is if you don't know the team and you don't really know what they can do, put them low.
And
Um,
low. Yeah.
I think I would put the Utah BYU game out of one and maybe this one out of two because the thing is like we've been talking about with all of these games, it really could go either way. When you don't know either team or which way it could go, like I know enough about LSU and Vanderbilt, I know enough about Georgia Tech and all these other games. So whereas like I feel like I have at least a little bit more of an emotional navigational system to place them. Old
Yeah.
Dominion and James Madison, there is no navigational system for me to use to be like,
Right.
I've seen them play, so maybe I think they could pull it off. No, I have no idea. So keep them as low as you think you can.
Yeah.
Or if you just need
Or if
the
you
thing, yeah, yeah,
or if you know something about, if you do know,
yes,
if you know someone who goes there, like tell me about this,
yes.
then
And then you can put it higher and probably get quite a few points. But like what I miss about games like this is normally they used to be like a 7 point spread or something like that. That way you could be like, okay, I'm going to put that in a nine, get some
right.
points, and then
Yeah.
reserve. Because this, I feel like the strategy for the last 5 years has been I have to reserve my low five because that, I mean, that's almost what I had to feel first because
Hmm.
those are all the tight games. Who do I think can't pull it off and who am I most nervous about? And then I put it back in the bottom five and then I'm left with these games where I'm like, all right, now I've got to figure out who out of all these other five I think will do the best, which is also a hard thing to be able to do. Before
Yeah.
it was who's going to be 10 and then 9 and 8, you start in that direction first because it's like, well, all these are going to win. So who do I most think is going to win?
Right.
Now it's like, who
Right.
do I most think is going to lose and or upset? So
Yeah.
sorry, that's my big spiel.
No,
What do you think?
I don't have anything to add. I agree.
Yeah.
You know more than
All
me.
right. So let's do upset of the week, and then we'll pick. What was the other one that we're picking? Game of the week.
Just game
Well,
of the
I think
week.
both of us can
Ga
agree with game of the week. All right, come on.
BYU
It's got
Utah.
to be the Holy War. Okay,
That's
so
it.
what do you think is
Yep.
going to be the upset?
I was gonna go, you kind of alluded to it. I was gonna go with Georgia Tech over Duke, but then you're
Yeah,
like, do you call that an upset? So
yeah.
it's
I don't know
like,
if you call that an upset.
so my
Yeah,
backup, and this is another kind of weird one, was Mizzou over Auburn. But again, like
interesting.
Mizzou's ranked and Auburn's not. So it's like, it's an upset according to the spread, but it's like,
Is
is it?
it?
What?
Wait, hold on. Mizzou is winning. So you're calling Auburn on
Oh,
that?
sorry. No, no, no. Oh, okay. In my
Okay,
other
I was like, wait, what?
analysis, sorry.
Okay,
You're good. Okay, so
okay.
I'll stick with Georgia Tech.
Yeah, you stick with Georgia Tech. I think. I think it's like, what side do I want to use to actually call it upset? I think South Carolina could be an upset,
Okay.
um, because I'm just not confident in Oklahoma. So we shall
Yeah,
see about that.
I could see that. You could even go Penn State. That's a weird one. Would be a weird one to call.
Yeah,
Like,
that'd be a weird one to call.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well,
All
guess
right.
we'll see how it goes.
All right.
Happy
Good
Saturday.
luck.
All
All
right.
right.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.